Hey peoples, good morning, and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard, John, and, Miss Kiki, she's in front of the fan because it is hot as blazes here this week. And yeah, I put the fan in front of the open patio door while it was still cooler outside than it was inside, and she just plopped right in front of it. So Kiki is fanning. All right. Yeah, ooh, you got 2 shots. Oh, the lovely combo, too, Turgeon. All right, well, take it easy. Drink lots of vitamin C, or eat lots of vitamin C. Does that even help? It should help, right? Because it helps your immune system? I don't know. I'm just going to cock my head like a dog. I am playing the part of Kiki today. I did get a pretty cool video of me talking to her with her head going from one side to the other side to the other side. It was really cute. All right. Oh. It doesn't hurt, yeah. That's what I figured. For those who are grossed out by licorice, just look away from the screen for a moment. For those who asked what the licorice mints were that I really like, they're not cheap, but they're super yum. They're super yum. Super yum. Those are them. And yeah, you can eat 2 of them and only have 5 calories. So it's great when, I just want something and it's Yeah, Keekster is cute. And then she jumped on me, of course, because Keekster. So what we're going to do today, I primed Mr. Dude because he was a 3D print. We are going to paint him as a vampire. I really actually prefer to paint vampiric figures that are not actually all dressed up like Dracula. Seriously? Can we get away from that right now? Let's face it, the cooler, when you're a DM and you're looking to really scare the party, what you do is take a vampire that used to be a PC, right? Who used to be a mage or a barbarian or a druid or something, right? And give them powers from their old class plus vampiric powers. And then everybody is just pooping in their boots, let's just say. Yeah, so I like that kind of vampire, which is why I figured I would do this. Because a barbarian vampire, paint all minis as vampires. Should we make October paint all minis as vampires? We could paint a vampire owlbear. We could paint a vampire, paint every mini as if it's vampiric. I don't know if I'm on board for that, but, we can at least paint this guy. I do need to get my sticky tack stickier, because this sticky tack is not very sticky. I'm just noticing it. Which means I don't need the mounting putty. I need the goopy stuff. I always have more than one blue tack. I have 3 flavors of blue, technically 4 if you count this old orange stuff. But I have 3 flavors of blue tack always next to me, and the darker blue one is I think that's traditional actual blue tack. It's very sticky. So if I have a blue tack that has lost some of its stick, I grab some of this stuff. And I've got mounting putty, which is the least sticky. And then I've got a blue tack, and I'm not sure where I got this blue tack from, but it's a lighter blue compared to this darker blue stuff. It's a lighter blue, and this is perfect blue tack. That's why there's only a little bit of it left, and I hoard it. Because it's this blue tack is the ultimate blue tack. So, yeah. And then the mounting putty is more of a gray stuff, right? All the vamps all month long. Vampire black pudding. It's just a puddle with little fangs and glowy eyes. It's like Snow White MSP. Oh, nice. Interesting. Yeah, usually that's a mounting putty, Zachariah, but if you got one that was, but it's blue tack brand, huh? I mean, technically, you could put vampiric blood into a black pudding and it would just absorb it, right? And then it would become a vampire. You just have to, stretch your imagination a little bit. I'm imaginating today. Today I'm letting myself work on the cozy fantasy world. Because I realized I was feeling frustrated because I told myself I would let myself work on that before Nano, and then I said, oh no, I'm just going to work on North of the Wind. And then I got this writing rage thing that I get. My inner child is frustrated. It wants to work on one thing, and I'm not giving it the treat. I'm saying, no, you have to eat your broccoli. I'm not giving it the cookie. So today I'm giving it the cookie. Because it worked on North of the Wind yesterday, so... It's weird. Our brains are weird. Can we just, like, our brains? So weird. We are so weird. Daffodweir. Weir. Whoa! Quadruple subiversary, quadruple subiversary, quadruple subiversary. Happy quadruple subiversary. There you go. Blood pudding is definitely vampiric. Like, I mean, come on, look at its name. The Inuits also made a blood stew or a blood pudding a lot because they didn't have a lot of, you know, when you're pretty much eating seals and you don't have a lot of greens, you just look for that one side dish, right? So we have totally weird brains. It's like, yeah, that's because you're totally out of Twitch's normal demographic, Pendrake. Although maybe it's starting to realize that some of its audience is older and it's starting to target the midlife crisis people. Some of us are past our crises. Thank you. We would rather not have more crises. Let's just not go there. No more crises, please. And a small Scottish cat gets a song. Yay. Puerto Rico blood sausage. So that's a vampiric sausage. And you can put fangs on that. Like that, we totally should be doing that. Like that should be on the internet. Vampiric food should be on the internet. You put googly eyes on it and fangs. And any kind of food you can think of. And there would be some brilliant ones. Why is this not a challenge? Why is this... Okay, I've mentioned it, so it's got to be on the internet somewhere. But somebody needs to make it an official internet challenge. Internet, I challenge you. Give me vampiric food. And you show them an example, and then the internet just goes. Yeah, well, vampiric carrots have been around, like since Banicula, right? Like, you always wondered if the carrot wouldn't actually turn into a vampiric carrot. You guys know Banicula? Are you that old that you know that book from when I was a kid? The vampire bunny that essentially, like, sucked the vegetable juice out of the vegetables. Oh, I like the purple unicorn horn dragons. Dried pig's blood. Yeah. Googly eyes do make everything better. Yes, yeah, see, I read my little brother those books. Well, now when you're mixing werebeasts and vampires, you've got abominations then, Zachariah. Oh, which reminds me, I need to go buy that vampire werewolf. Hera Models, wasn't it? I don't remember his name, but he was limited. And I don't know, I just got paid. Let's see if he's still there. Looking for vampire werewolf. I guess I have to shop. Or wait, no, he's under news. I see him. There he is. Oscar. Oscar the vampire werewolf. Yeah. This is a cool mini. And he's wolfy, and I love wolfy. He's got elaborate armor, and I really like elaborate armor too. And I really like him better with wings. Everything is better with wings. Well, okay, I can't say that because I hate painting wings, but these are small wings. It wouldn't take that much effort. Right? Should I tell David I want an early Christmas present? I think I'm gonna go there. I think I'm gonna text him. Blatant Christmas present request. What do you guys think? Love the one with wings. There. Hearts. And wolf. Do we have a wolf? Yeah, there's a wolf. Boom. Paste. Boom. There we go. We've done it. Hera Models. Yeah. You sent Mrs. Hamster a link to a 3D printer. Which one, Crawley? We have the Saturn II and we really like it. But I bet there are even better ones now. Vampiric mushrooms. Well, some people don't like mushrooms on their pizza, so that would not affect their pizza thing. You know, we don't talk to those people, Zechariah. We kind of shun them a little, just a little. You know, shunning isn't really cool, so we don't like truly shun. We just micro shun. Yes. Oh, Twisted Oma, we love rabbit holes, and I got sleep last night, so I'm like, I'm in that Ender 3 version 2. Oh, I don't know that one. I'll have to look it up. But it's exciting, Crawley. It's exciting. David actually like nosed up to me last night. He's like, "Are we gonna 3D print stuff soon?" This from the man who avoided it like the plague for 7 months, 8 months. So now it's funny. It's just funny. Well, we're always looking for stuff to buy each other for Christmas, so. Oh, it's a filament printer, not resin. Oh, you need more terrain. I like printing terrain on the resin. Probably a lot more expensive, but. That reminds me. D. Clearman, if you're out there, I need to talk to you, because pretty soon they should fulfill that awesome terrain Kickstarter, right? And you need to tell me if you're watching this, you need to tell me if they tell you where it's available, like if they have vendors. I know they had a vendor license, so maybe I just need to go search. I just need to know when they actually fulfill so that I can start searching. There's a movie about man eating almost everything. Come on, Sharknado exists. All right, so skin tone. Where is my, do I have, I thought I put it in here. I just haven't touched it for forever. No. Did I take it out of my box? I might have taken Draw Nipple Pink out of my box. I think I did, but I did see a color that could be fun. Let's grab Necromancer Purple, and let's get... I want a green. That's a very red purple, so I need a green with it more yellow in it. And do I want to make it lighter? Am I going to put it in? I also removed my... Gleefully stupid movies are pretty cool. I don't have time to watch movies lately, but still. All right, I'm going to mix these two colors together. I know this looks weird, guys. We're going to take Meadow Green, and we're going to mix a little bit of Necromancer Purple, and we're going to use Necromancer for shadows, and probably mix it with a little bit of a blue-gray for that. What have I got? I got Hardsuit Blue. Just looking at what I got back here. Sharkbite. Speaking of sharks, we'll just use Sharkbite. So I used to love this combo. Red, green, and blue, all muted. I used to love. Oh. You'll get there, Turgeon. Yeah, whole barns. I don't know though. I could disagree, Pendrake, because the problem is if I print a really nice print of a building on a FDM printer, I'm not going to want to paint it. The resolution will just essentially make me completely nope out. Whereas if it's a really nice building, I'm going to want to print it on resin. I'm going to want to paint it. So it's to each their own, right? Some people don't really mind if it's terrain, if it's got all the print lines and a resolution thing. No, I've got some crows. It's just I took it out of my... remember my little drawer here is my... I use these all the time. It was an expensive day, Quindia. Wow. Yeah, sorry about that, Turgeon. You know, sometimes life just throws us crap. It decides to just, like, say, nopes. It decides to fight with us. And we just have to figure out how to get back at it. All right. So anyway, yes, I used to love these. Can you see how those colors actually go together, by the way? It's really weird, but they do. They actually harmonize pretty well. You've got two complementary colors, and then you've got a nice blue. Blue can actually serve the place of a neutral sometimes, I find, because it's a more natural color. And it goes with pretty much everything. So You can get away with blue on a lot if you go with a more muted color scheme. It can be a very calming, natural color. So I'm going to try to essentially mix stuff from this. I don't know that I'm going to mix the entire model from this, but maybe I will. Limited palette, anyone? We won't have a yellow. That's the only problem. That is the problem I foresee. I need to have a yellow. I think so. They're muted though, right? Because this one has this one is dulled down. Might have some black in it. I don't remember if Necromancer has some black in it. And this one definitely has black in it, so it's muted down. And Sharkbite definitely has black in it, right? Not really, because this is a yellow, not a... This is pretty much just, I would call this... Okay, so this would be actually a triad plus one. Primary triad plus one. Split complementary is a weird one. To get split complementary, I would need to have like the red and then two different greens, one yellow one and one blue one. Like that's the split complementary is a hard freaking color scheme to make work. You have to be really persnickety about which colors you choose, and you got to go probably have light dark contrast. Like a split complementary would be. That's not green enough. That's not muted enough. See, that's the problem. Is in order to get the right... No, that won't work. I don't know that I have the right colors here in my box. I'm looking. Split complementary. Bluish. A slightly bluish light green. A yellowish green. And technically we should push further toward a teal here, but I don't have a muted lighter teal. And on the green spectrum, all of my teals tend to shift blue. So that would be more closer. I'd probably put a little bit more blue in this to shift it a little bit more. But do you see what I mean? Like that's a split complementary. No, Sharkbite is not a teal. It is very firmly a blue. It has some green in it. But you can see the difference. It adds a whole different color when you pop it in there, right? Like this, you can read as red, green. But the minute you pop this in, it doesn't read as green, does it? It reads as blue. So when you're dealing with the split complementary, remember that your complementaries need to be truly complementary. If they're pushing too far toward the other, another way to say this is if I really want to know if something is a blue or a green, I'll kind of squint at it, or I'll kind of like put it out in the middle of nowhere and I'll glance at it out of the corner of my eye. And if it reads as blue to me, then it's a blue. If it reads as green, then it's a green. If I can't tell, then it's more of a teal. But you can see I hope you can see very easily that this is complementary and it reads that way. But the minute you throw this in, that throws a monkey wrench in. And this is fighting with it, and that's how you can tell this is actually a blue or green, is it's fighting with this blue because they're too close. Even though this one is very light and this one is dark, that doesn't harmonize nearly as well as this harmonizes. Do you guys see that? Like, if you look at the colors, do you get that feeling of this is a little bit jarring, but this is actually feels good? Are you getting that? Because that's what my gut, but my gut is very, attuned to color. But it's the best thing if you can develop that sense where you can look at the colors and go, all right, well, might work, but it's a little jarring. And then you do this and you're like, oh no, that feels good. Go with your gut. Your gut actually usually understands what an ugly color combo is unless you're really, really just not attuned to it at all. And some people aren't. Some people just really, they've never developed that part of themselves. And so they just don't get it, or they just, if you don't want to understand it, if you haven't tried to understand it, you're probably not going to understand it. But many of us have this innate kind of sense of what colors really look good together. If we're honest with ourselves, we stop and we get open and we're like, okay, let's compare these. So you should trust your gut on some of this stuff. So yeah, so that is an example. But you can see how this is a very different color. Like teal, I almost don't have a straight blue-green teal unless it's bright turquoise. And even that is bluer. Because the thing is usually when you're mixing blue and green, you end up airing one side to the other. Like, and usually if you're going to sell paint, that's what you want to do. So let's get rid of Boggard because we're not using it. Sorry, Boggard. I like you for some things, but not for this. So, yes. So if you look at this, if we use these, if I do limited palette, I only use these colors plus black and white or dark brown and white. Then this is a yellow. Rich leather is absolutely a yellow. And the way that you would know that, even though it might look like an orange to you, it might, but if you add white to this, yellow. This is actually made in a yellow base. It has a huge front load of yellow pigment in it, which is why it's so saturated and why it makes such a good color for NMM gold. And this is an example, or I guess one way to kind of think of it is, remember I always say this is like raw sienna. Raw sienna, when you add white to it, is absolutely a yellow, and you use it as the yellow when you mix skin tones. When you're mixing a red and yellow to make a skin tone, you use this color to do it. And that's another hint that tells you this is a yellow, not an orange. Most browns are muted oranges, but the very yellow and the very red ones are classed differently. So, and you kind of just have to look at it with your gut. The easiest way to do it is to mix some white into it and then see what color it turns. If it's more yellow, yellow. If it's more red, more pinkish, red. Like if you mix some white into ruddy leather, you'll get a terracotta color, which is pink. So that tells you that it's a red brown. It's definitely classed toward the red if you must class it. That's why it looks so good on green Rangers and other stuff that's painted green. You're automatically complementary at that point. That's why I say there actually aren't many true neutral browns. Usually the true neutral browns, or the ones that are close to a true neutral, are going to be darker. Darker and they are still muted oranges, but they tend to, if you get dark enough, you tend to be able to go with anything. Muddy brown, I've done a PDF on this on the Patreon, but muddy brown is one. Russet brown, even though it's very yellow, russet brown still works with almost, I think, with every color. And then black and brown is another one. Even though black and brown, it does have a slight reddish shift, just like russet brown has a slight yellow shift. They still mostly will count as neutral because they're so dark. And then you can change their color profile depending on what you mix into them to highlight them, right? If I take russet brown, which is a yellow brown, and I highlight it with harvest brown, it's going to go orange, right? And that's fine. It works. If I just mix an off-white into it, it's going to go up more toward a gray, and it's going to be more neutral. That's what it kind of is at heart. It really... Right, Pendrake. But I had to come up with a name for it, so... You can count that as a fail if you like. I just needed a color name, so I did it. Then afterwards, because originally when I looked at the burnt umbers, remember this is our burnt umber, I thought they were more reddish. So that's what I named it. I name the colors before I make them. But then when I tried to hit the color, when I tried to actually create a burnt umber, then I realized that it has a huge front load of yellow in it. And I was like, oh well, still russet brown. But you don't need to worry about it because it's a neutral. It's more yellowy, so it looks good on purple, but... Oh, yeah, I see it, Turgeon. Well, you can see the one. This is Necromancer, but you could also use Keelian Wine from Pathfinder. I just picked a bunch of weirdos, but... I mean, you can make this kind of thing without it. You could go for Muddy Olive here instead. You could go for Templar Blue here instead. I just happened to grab a bunch of off colors. Necromancer, I know, is one that you may not have. Keelian Wine is a little bit lighter, but you can see it's in the same color family. And if I put Keelian Wine here, it works. It doesn't work as well because even in these colors, which do go well together, I'm still, it likes it if I've got at least one, if everything is the same shade. This is doing this with the same shade. Also, this is a little bit more purple, so it's not working quite as well. So you can see that. Because at that point, you've got kind of a complementary here, but this is a weird one, so. So yeah, mess around. But you could use Kaolian Wine in a pinch. You might be able to use something like, Dragon Red is a little warmer, but it still works fine. You can see it. Works fine there. So, you could do Dragon. You might be able to do... I chose not to do Dragon because I wanted something colder, and this is more purpley. Shark Bite, like I said, you could go with Templar Blue or... Hard Suit is too green. Now this is more of a teal. Hard Suit is close to just a teal. We could pop that in there. It still works. Still blue enough. So you could do Hard Suit. You could do... if you have the carbon scoring blue, they're very close. See how close those are? This one is less green in it. The carbon scoring does, and a little bit more gray. And then the Hobgoblin blue is probably one that you could also consider. It's dark. It's darker and it's bluer, but it still works. It just doesn't work quite as well. And this is why, folks, you just saw me whip out 4 blues that have very, very similar profiles. But some of them worked better with this color combo than others. And this is why having a number of colors that are close to each other but not quite the same does actually help you regarding color theory in miniatures painting. So... yeah, you can mix everything. Sure, that's fine. But never think that having different shades of greenish, grayish blue is worthless, because there may be times when you're looking at a muted color scheme and you really find that one is better than the other. So mess around till you can feel it. I don't know what that is, Crows. So I think I'm going to go for this. I haven't done limited palette in a while. We haven't done it since the Necromancer guy with the book and the tentacles. Remember him? And we actually used Necromancer purple on him. But Necromancer purple here is serving the place of a red, which is very interesting. So we'll see what we can do. I probably will need to add a little bit of a brighter red when I highlight him, because vampire, right? But we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. First, I'm going to see... I'm going to definitely have to write these down on a thing. So let me get out a little card. Gotta get a little card. I'm going to need more little cards. I'm running out. Whenever I think I've got enough of these little trading cards, I could cut up a bunch out of my Bristol, but that seems like so much work. Alright. So Vampire. Vampire Barbarian. Vamp Barb. I'm going to write down my colors. Necromancer purple. Sharkbite. The nice thing about this, about using these colors though, even if they are limited, one, you can find rough equivalents, and two, it lets us use some different stuff, right? I still feel like the best match for Sharkbite is more Templar Blue, 9056. And Meadow Green. Bobby Jackson will be happy. Okay. Now, if I needed to, could I mix a skin tone from these? Like a normal skin tone? Absolutely. In fact, maybe we'll do it. And then we'll pale it out and give it weird shadows to make it vampiric. Usually I go gray, as y'all know, so I can go close. Alright, so I've got that set up at least. I know what colors, and I'm going to put limited palette down here. So any colors I make, I'm going to try to use these. Which will give us a muted figure. But... oh. Yeah, I don't have some of those newer ones. But essentially, you need to just hold it up against the others' crows and see if it will match. If it gives you that good feeling, like it looks good, if it's close to shark bite, essentially if it's a muted teal or a muted blue that has a bit of green in it, a green shift to it, then you're probably good. All right, let's see. I was originally going to mix my red and my green to make a skin tone. So let's go. I need to figure out the quickest way to get to gray. So once you've got your limited palette, it is very helpful to figure out what you need to mix to make a gray. Because axe, right? Armor, stuff like that. You could do colored armor and get away from that, but it is really useful. And in general, green and red together make a great gray. But we'll see how our, 2 drops of that. Let's go back, and since we're doing a lot of color mixing today, wasn't expecting to talk this much about color theory, but then I kind of made the decision to go with a limited palette on this guy on the fly. Oh, right, High Seas Horror. Right. Surf and Turf? Are they killing the fast palettes? I know what people said they were. That looked like they were. So we're going 3 to 2 because the red pigment is probably higher diffusion than the others. But we'll find out. I'm going to put 1 drop of what do we got? Okay, so we're getting brown here. We're getting brown. We need a bit, we definitely ended up more on the red side. So we need 1, again, I guess I was right about the red being dominant. Now we're neutraling out a little bit more. Still going to be a brown though. So what we might need to do is take it a little bit more toward blue. Although I'm actually going to add white to this. If it's so I need to really see what color this is now. And that the way to do that is to add a drop of white. What was that, Kroniko? I missed that. Oh, okay. You meant to ask on the last show for that. Oh, for the fast palettes. Well, steel, right? Pendrake? The weapons for me are always a no-brainer. Unless I'm purposefully headed into a model deciding to do something like a bone blade, it's going to be steel. So as I mix the white in, I'm going to get a better sense of what color this is. It's an interesting grayish. It's an interesting grayish brown. It's not as purple as it looks on the screen. I'm going to actually keep that color and throw a little bit more over here. This is going to be a very muted skin tone. It may work fine for a vampire. I just need to keep working it. Yeah, Crows, there was some talk that the fast palettes might be like just on the way out. So I feel like I'm still going a bit too red here. I'm gonna take a chance. ABBA soundtrack springs to mind effortlessly. If you aren't too green, take a chance on me. There we go. Yes, I grew up listening to ABBA. Judge me if you like. I still enjoy listening to their music. Or ABBA, depending on who you talk to. Alright, so that's interesting. You'd want to, if you're going to do Bloodstone, you want to do a big model, Pendrake, like my big orc, because Bloodstone has those flecks in it, but trying to do that at a scale like this is, you could probably put a vein of red through the green, but, and you're right, these colors are almost correct for it. But I would do that on a much bigger axe, and the thing is that if you, like some people will understand what it is, some people won't, so it'll look like marble to a lot of people. They won't understand that it's bloodstone. But yeah, you could do it. It would be best on a model with a big axe, like that you could really do the flex and patterning on. All right, so now we're warmish, brownish. We definitely could shift toward blue if we want to now. This is even you could use this as a human skin tone. It's a very muted one. But I want to shift it maybe a bit more, I think. I don't know. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pop this up another level and see what my highlight looks like. And then I'm going to tune it. So I'm making a triad, a vampiric skin triad. I want a very muted skin. You know what this would be good for, though, actually, now that I'm thinking about it? If a vampire was originally darker skinned, this might be the way it goes once they're dead. Like, this might be a good angle. I definitely muted it out. It is a pure brown now. It's a very pleasant kind of brown. But we definitely want it to be unnatural. So I'm debating sliding it either a bit purple, like back toward the purple we had it, or working with this and putting some interesting color. I think maybe I'll work with this and get some interesting colors mixed into it. We'll work with this. Let's work with this. This is interesting. But what I'll do is I'll glaze some greens and purples into the skin, and I will take it up to white. I'm going to keep this dark color, but I'm going to pop it down a little bit with the purple. And this is the kind of thing that you can do just like if you just let yourself mix crap. Mix crap and figure it out. Like, it takes practice to develop your eye and your gut for this. Yeah, I definitely wanted that purpler. Okay, that's good. I like this. This is good. So we can start. Yeah, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that more purple. I'm going to shift these guys a tiny bit more green. Which is more like what I like to do on vampires, where I'm working with a complementary system to make the skin look more like pearlish or unnatural. But I don't want to send it too green. Just a tiny bit on my brush. Just going to shift it just a little bit. And I'll do more glazing probably to really green it out. I could also use something like skeleton bone from Pathfinder for a final highlight, because it is greenish. So let's do that. Let's rock that. I'm going to need to do all the skin today, because if I'm probably going to be able to match these colors again. Not perfectly. Perfect doesn't matter, really, so I at least need to get them blocked in. I could probably do something like close. I'm going to swatch them, though, before I forget. Quindy's actual job needed her for a second. Sorry, guys. And when I do mixes like this and I put them on the card, I am going to pull them out a little bit. Meaning I'm going to throw some water in them and I'm going to pull out the pigments, because it's going to show me more what it is, what it actually looks like. And then this one, yeah, now when you put them together on the card, you can see the red and green, right? Where it doesn't immediately pop out to you on the palette. So sometimes swatching your colors can give you information. So maybe even before you decide for sure what you're doing, you can do swatches. Rude real job. Yes. We could go two ways with our final highlight. We could go with pale skin and go with the pink, or we could go with skeleton bone and go with the green for our off-white final. We'll see what we look like and make the decision based on that. All right, we're ready. We're ready. Is this weird or what? Are these weird colors or what, folks? I love it. I love it. Let's go, wonky colors. Let's go. Do I want to start dark? No, I want to start mid. I'll start mid and see. I did a zenith on this guy, so I might be able to start mid. But if the mid is... unfortunately, I think I thinned the mid a little bit too much. It needs to be dark enough is the thing, right? I just need to make it a little thicker. So I'm going to mix some of my shadow into it. Which is going to throw up more neutral and less green. It's all right. So if you use an app like I do, I use Todoist, you can actually put reminders in there for every other week. So like if you do use a to-do app, most of those will let you do that kind of thing in them. That's how I remember to do stuff every other week. I just put it in my to-do app, and then it reminds me. All right, let's get closer and in focus. So this is not an undoable skin tone, like just out of the box. It's not completely unnatural. It's very muted, which is what you would want for a vampire. The skin tends to gray out or dull out. Depends on how you like your vampires. I know the vampiric skin triad is a little bit purple. That's another way you can do it. Anything unnatural. And if I've got shadow areas like the side of the nose, I am going to grab my shadow color, that purpley color, and paint those in, and under the eye here also. And I'll probably make this shadow under the eye even more purple in the future, but for now, man, he's got deep, deep eye wells. Like, can you see that? Like, how deep that cut is? Crazy overhanging brows. The eyes are really recessed. That means I really can't, and you can see because it's shadowy, right? That definitely makes him a good vampire, but it means I can't do glowing eyes. Right, right. I have a job where I can leave the office early. It's because the office is here. I think it's becoming more common these days, Pendrake, with the flexible work schedules. For of course you can't if you're, if it's certain jobs. Certain job types just don't lend themselves to that. Factory construction, stuff like that. And the temple is also shaded, so I'm going to pop a little bit of that purpley color in there. Both sides. And the ear can go a little more red, so I'm going to grab more of that shadow. You can hardly see the ear on this side. Alright, so that's our setup. Seeing if you have to get up at 6:30 a.m. the next day. He has a really, really overhanging brow. I mean, people have this feature. It just makes it, as a miniature, it means it's really hard to do those eyes. And you certainly can't do a glowing eyes thing, so that's out. That's out. So we are going to bring up this skin a lot, folks. Remember, I always like to start dark and work light on skin tones, at least for most of the time. But you can see this could be a natural skin tone as it stands. It's just we're going to do some weird stuff with it. You don't have to start out with... I mean, normally I start with a gray, right? So this is going to be a very different vampiric skin tone for me. And I think I am going to actually use my Zenith and paint it at the same time, do some wet blending to get this purple color in there. Hard to wet blend on 28 sometimes because in smaller areas. I mentioned this on the new, for those of you who saw the Fundamentals of Mini Painting wet blending video, went up on my Patreon for early access yesterday. You really have no excuse not to be on my Patreon because as far as I know, I still have a free level. So you can join for free and get the notifications when I put up a new Fundamentals of Miniature Painting. And I realized that after I said on this video that was the last of the Fundamentals series, I realized I was a liar because I need to do that pinning episode next, and that's definitely a Fundamentals. Prep and pinning are definitely Fundamentals, so I'm going to do a prep and pinning for next month. Next month being NaNoWriMo. So it's kind of good that I don't have to change up my mindset. So I'm using my shadow color. You see how purple it is? Because all of this was black on the Zenith, right? So we're using... Well, thank you, Karniko. I think it's a good Patreon, too. Certainly it has made a huge difference to me in my life to have started that thing. I don't know if I'm going to put this video up, but yesterday when I was emailing myself the wet blending video, I noticed a notification on my Patreon that it was exactly 5 years ago. 5 years ago? 2018. 19, 20, 21, 22. Yep, 5 years ago. Exactly 5 years ago since I created the Patreon. And I created it a couple of months before I started to actually produce content for it because I was so afraid to even create it, guys. Back in those days, I had a lot of fear around stuff like that because I failed so many times when I tried to start stuff in the past, right? So, like, your brain gives you that narrative where, oh, but you've always failed to execute on this stuff in the past, so nothing's going to change, right? Your brain gives you that. You can decide whether to believe it or not. And in this case, I bullied myself through my fear because I really felt like it was important to me, and I'd wanted to do a Patreon for so long. So I made myself hit go live. And once it was live and I had gotten past the fear there, then it was easier to start creating content for it. But I shot a very teary-eyed, not openly crying, but darn close video right after I saw that notification. And I don't know if I'm going to put it up or not. I have to look at it. I haven't edited it. But essentially just a thank you video to all of my patrons because you have made such a huge difference in my life. If I had not pushed that button and if you guys had not come over to patron me, my life would be so freaking different. Up, quintuple. I have to stop being all weepy and I have to like say quintuple, happy quintuple. 1 second. Who did I miss? Oh, my quintuple. I see. I get a quintuple. I see. I was like, wait, what? But yes. So like I say on that video and I mean it. I'm having trouble not crying right now. But you guys who are my patrons, if you ever wanted to make a big difference in somebody's life, congratulations, achievement unlocked. You've done it. Because without you, I don't know where I'd be. Like, oh, but I could redo the video, but I'm starting to weep up even right here, Zachariah. I don't think I could do this video without weepies. 1 second. Must save mascara. Ugh. I don't think I can do this video without weepies because it's just, it's real, right? It's real. This is real. This is all the emotion. This is all the gratitude that I feel. Nico. Oh, man. Oh, dearie. That was good. Oh, but now I'm crying again because I'm laughing. Oof. Yeah, it's okay to do the weepies. It's just like, it takes braveness, right? It takes courage to be vulnerable like that and put yourself out on YouTube being vulnerable for the world to see. And I probably will, but it's going to take me a little bit to just like look at it and just decide to do it. Decide to hell with it. Do it. Right? Thanks, Crowley. You guys with all the not love, the not love. Non-love. Ah, dear. But anyway, so yeah. So if you see a Weepy Ann video go up, you won't be surprised. The Weepy Ann thank you video. Alrighty. So we're getting in. I'm getting that purple, those purple shadows to come in here now. Just working my way. I'm leaving that pretty dark. I will bring in... Now, what I'm doing here, the reason I'm base coating with my shadow, whereas here I base coated with my mid, right? But here, when I go in to put a mid-tone highlight on this, it's going to look darker, right? Because I'm putting it over a dark color, the shadow color. Whereas here, where it's going over the white primer at the top of the zenith, it's going to look light. And that's intentional. So you can still... wolves for... book reading wolves, even. I appreciate the book reading wolves. That's a cute one. But, so I'm doing this on purpose because I know that I can play that. And then my shadow colors, I can still highlight them. But the color will look much darker and more washed out. See? Look at how warm it is here. And then it looks much colder here. So that's intentional. You can do that. You can play with that with your shadows. You can essentially, especially if you're using a zenith coat, so you can see your shadows, you can paint those shadows like I have here. I painted the darkest part with that shadow color, right? And then I've got that transition. You can see the speckles here. And that'll work too, because those speckles, those black speckles, will make my midtone look a little darker in that area. Just a little, but it's enough to help, right? And having a little help when you're doing this, the layering and the blending, is never a bad thing. And I can paint a little bit of my midtone over that shadow to make a transition. We are doing the Sergio technique with the muscles, by the way, where I leave super dramatic shadows. If you've never seen that done, we're going to do it on this guy. I'm doing a layering brush stroke to kind of blend that spot in between. I had bands of color, right? You can see the lines here. The way to get across that is to go against that line, perpendicular to it, and do little micro brush strokes with a thinner paint. This is a cool skin tone. I like it. I like it even for, like, this is a cool skin tone even if I wasn't doing a vampire and planning to bring it up really, really tight. Because it's like, it's just such a muted one. So if you're working with a lot of grays and browns on a figure, you're really trying to give it that kind of rainy day feel. This is a really good skin color. It grays out everything. Just putting more shadows in here because I want the skin here. He's got a little bit of a crease between his eyes, so I'm going to accentuate that. And above his brown ridges. He definitely has a scrunched up nose, so I'm going to shade that. You can pick out these little details. Hey, Gibson, how's it going? Yeah, he does have super dramatic muscles, and this is where the Sergio technique tends to live. It tends to be best. But now that we're doing the super dramatic muscles, we're going to have to be super dramatic on the rest of the figure as well. It's not going to show up a lot. It's going to show up on the axe. Zenith priming does lend itself to this. You don't have to Zenith prime to do the dramatic muscles and stuff, but it helps. I think he's got bare skin. I'm going to get down there in a moment. Trying to get all this blocked in, and got to get the hands. Kind of working top to down. We've got a half hour left, so I should be okay. But yeah, so you can create skin tones like this just mixing. If you're mixing a green and a red, and you've got a fair amount of yellow in one of them, this is a very yellowish green, then your green and red are probably going to shift more toward brown and away from gray, and that can give you this kind of really nice kind of muted skin tone. Now, there are times for sure when you want a more saturated skin tone, and the muted skin tone is not going to look right. And it's going to depend on your colors. I mean, my Barbarian Lady is the Moonlight Minis Barbarian Lady is a great example where I tried to do her with a more muted color scheme on the skin, and I just didn't like it. It wasn't working. So I came back at it with a really saturated skin tone and it worked better. So sometimes you have to be ready to change it up, but since we're planning to do this guy as a vampire, we're going to get there. Alright, let's do some hands. That's great that you're that you feel like you can paint your Sophie Gibson. So I think this speaking of personal progress and growth, I think this new book I'm reading has totally managed to solve my stress eating issue. It's not solved all of it, but it's solved the part that I was having a lot of anxiety and I wasn't able to pinpoint a source. Like normally when I get stressed out for good reasons, like I have reason to be stressed out, I definitely stress eat. And I think I would still probably, I don't know though, maybe not. But I definitely was feeling more anxious, like a general anxiety, and I was really weirded out because I'm not normally like that. And I realized, like, this silly self-helpery book, it helped me figure out what was going on. Essentially, every time I stressed out, I would eat, right? I would stress eat. I was giving myself treats for stressing out, guys. It was that simple. When I realized I was stressing out for no reason, because subconsciously my brain wanted me to eat a cookie, it's gone. Like, it's totally gone. Like, the anxiety went poof! It's like seeing a ghost and the ghost getting scared and running away. It's like, this is why brains are weird. Brains are weird. So, right. And I was rewarding myself for it, right? Because really we gotta remember our bodies just think we're starving all the time because for millennia we were. So our bodies will do anything. Take your allergy pill, Quindy. And the part of our brains that's like the subconscious brain that's all about the body and what it feels is are very sneaky. And they're like, oh. No in between, huh, Nico? It'd be interesting if you did a little bit of like just like sit with yourself and figure out why, right? I wonder if it's different types of stress. That would be interesting. It's an interesting puzzle. Yeah, see? Well, I was very overweight, Nikesi. Or Nikisi? Nikisi, are you Nikesi? I was really, really overweight. I went on the ketogenic diet and I lost over 60 pounds. But I've been fighting because I gained 15 back. Like I was at 165 when I moved out here. That was my lowest. I went off keto and back on low carb because it's better, easier to cook for David and me both. Oh, I missed skin. It's right there. So let's block this in using our shadow color. And I gained back 15 and I've had a devil of the time losing it. And it was because I was like, and it's weird because I'm technically less stressed. Like, I'm not having surgeries. I'm not going through a divorce. My ancient dog is not dying. Like, I'm less stressed now than I have been over the last several years. And yet. And that's why I had to, like, do that kind of, like, once I figured that out. And it was that this book gave an example to me of a person who had a ton of anxiety because she kept having confrontations with her friends. And when she really looked at it, she realized that she actually kind of liked the excitement of the confrontations. Like, she was bored, essentially. Like, her subconscious mind was bored. She thought that the people that she had to be around all the time were boring. And starting these altercations gave her, some excitement. And once she realized that, not only did she stop doing it, she actually went and got a new circle of friends. Which is a little scary. I'm like, all right, I don't know if I would do that, but it's just weird what the subconscious mind does to you. But that's what gave me the insight into my brain. I was like, wait, so if I know I don't want to be anxious, right? Nobody wants to be anxious. But if I did want to be anxious, why do I want to be anxious? I want to be anxious because when I'm anxious, I let myself eat all the chocolate and all the cookies and all the everything. It was crazy, guys. It was crazy. Yeah, well, crazy makers can diffuse themselves, but they need to, like, figure out, like, hey, I'm enjoying this, right? That's the thing, is that on some level, not necessarily your conscious mind, but somewhere in you, something in you enjoys it. Like, it's doing it for a reason. It gets a reward from it. So whatever reward it gets. So I'm not working some highlights in here just to see how they'll work, guys. And I'm definitely seeing brushstrokes because my highlights are really, really strong. I haven't thinned them. They're very different, too, so it's going to take a lot of pulling these skin tones up. Yeah, then go to the shadow. I mean, I usually start with shadow and work up on skin tones, but I really vary it depending on the color and what I'm painting, Agent Marvel, because it's sometimes you'll find it easier and sometimes you won't. If you're not finding it easier, then turn around and go back to shadow up. Also, though, ask yourself if the reason you're having such trouble is that you're not thinning your paint enough. Oh, that would be exhausting, Herniko. And it's probably because they're terrifically bored with their jobs. And so their subconscious is looking for something to do, and it likes the thrill that it gets when trouble is started. Drama llamas, right? But the problem is those people are going to keep doing that if they never realize, one, if they just enjoy it and they're just going to keep doing it because they enjoy it, or if they're anxious about it, if they say it stresses them out, it's because they don't realize that they're enjoying the excitement. But yeah, not much to do. Like, the problem with this sort of revelation is that it only works on yourself. You can't really lead anybody else to water. They've got to figure it out for themselves if it's a problem for them. That's the problem with self-discovery. It's why it's so hard to teach, right? Because in order to do it, you have to be willing to go there yourself. Nobody else can push you into it. Nobody else can do it for you. You have to sit down in the damp dark of your brain and figure out, what does my weird brain really like about this? And you have to do it without judginess. This is the hard part. So I put a little bit too much shadow, I think, up here on the forehead. I'm going to... Yeah. Just let them rant for 3 minutes straight without shooting back. Yeah. If they're looking for the excitement of the contention, that probably would make them not seek you out again, Pendrake. Did it work? I'm going to thin my highlight, guys. Yeah, you've realized you've become the scapegoat for the group and it's not friendly. They're all just enjoying making themselves feel better at your expense, right, Gibson? Yeah, I mean, social dynamics are weird and people's and a lot of times people won't even realize they're doing that, right? That's the thing. A lot of this stuff isn't necessarily intentional. It's just the way they finally just ran out of air. But did they confront you again after that, or did they not? That was brilliant, Pendrake. You ought to be a psychologist. Alright, so I'm going to bring up some of this highlight here. I'm giving him an angry brow. Right, yeah, and that can color everything, right? I'm going to do little bits of highlighting here on top of the nose. I'm going to try to leave little shadow bits. You can see I left a shadow bit there to define where the brows are crunching together. The nose comes out from that shadow. I'm probably going to have to glaze to get this skin tone to come up, or I'm going to have to do some weird stuff to make it look vampiric. But that's all right. Ah, okay. There was a blurf you needed to fix. Got it. That reminds me. I did put on my to-do list to email Trashorama today to see if I can get a better resolution image of Blorf so that we can make a Zazzle shop. We can put Blorf coffee mug, Blorf t-shirt, Blorf happens. We can just do a blorf happens. Or blorfs happen. Or I like blorf happens. I think that's better. With a sploosh. Yeah, that's the problem with internet gurus. You always have to, whenever anybody, actually, this is my coach that I like, my writing coach. She's like, when anybody gives you advice, one of the first things you question is, what are they getting out of it? And on the internet, they're getting your eyeballs and your attention and your mouth to tell other people about them. So you cannot trust. Unless they are honestly, if you look into them and it seems like they are honestly just trying to get, like, this out because they had a great experience and they want to share it with the world, there are those people. But even then, it won't work for everybody. That's the thing. Nothing works for everybody. It may work slightly, it may not work at all. But it's best to ask yourself, on the internet, what does this person have to gain? Blorf happens. ReaperCon 2024. I could do that. I do not like the this painting method will change your life videos. I roll my eyes. My eyes are rolled so far, they're probably in the other room. But yeah. My writing coach is the best. The one I follow. She's just like into question the premise. She's like, if I hadn't like done coaching with her, the premise being the things we kind of accept about ourselves all the time, even though they might not be true. All right, I'm blending this in, bringing it up. I do have to bring in all this. I do have to do the legs. Let's just do the legs right now. They're mostly in shadow. The calf's not, though. Let's at least get this down. Pretty sure I can remix a highlight. The shadow is a little harder to hit. The thing is, if I do need to remix these colors, and I know that they're hard colors to remix and that they'll be hard to hit exactly, what I want to do is I want to get at least the base coat down everywhere. That way, at least I have one color that is absolutely matching. And then even if my highlights end up being a little bit off, chances are it'll still read fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got a kilt on. Or the equivalent. Last night we were watching Forged in Fire, which is the blacksmith reality show. Which is awesome, by the way, if you haven't ever watched it. But David is like, what is this thing with kilts and blacksmiths? And then the one guy was like standing in front of the forge saying, God, I'm glad I wore a kilt today because this is freaking hot. And David's like, oh... They're always wrong, but what if it actually will change my life? Oh dear. FOMO. Painting FOMO, Kurnico. That's so painting FOMO. I'm always curious. I don't watch them. But I would be curious to see exactly what they thought would change your life, right? But yeah. This barbarian is showing a lot of leg. There. Kilt wearing vampires. Yes, painting FOMO. That needs to be another t-shirt, right? Painting FOMO must have all the things. Yeah, I skip over clickbait. I assume that it's just like again, you have to ask yourself, well, they're desperate for my eyes, so they're being clickbaity. Right? Unfortunately, clickbait does work, and that's why people use it. Whether it's because we have FOMO and we really want to know, because it could be a juicy tidbit, Or because we want to see, and we want to, like, discredit them, right? Like, oh, this so is not going to change my life. Like, I'm going to click on it and prove it. And then I'll know that you were wrong, right? Because humans love to be right. We love to be right. Love, love, love. We'll do anything to be right. Some of us have a more balanced mindset toward that than others. But yeah, so that's why clickbait works. We either really want to know, or we want to prove the person wrong. We want to satisfy ourselves that that person is wrong about that statement. But either way, they've managed to get your eyeballs, right? And if it's on YouTube, they get paid for getting your eyeballs. Well, possibly. Oh, I have to figure out if I'm going to... That reminds me, I'm going to be streaming this Saturday, and I was going to maybe start running ads to, like, you know, give me a few more pennies of income on my Twitch stream. But I wanted to figure out how to run them manually. I don't know if I'm going to have time. I think that bantering with Luca is clickbait. There's just a great deal of pleasure we can derive from bantering with Luca. I think that's really why Luca has such an audience, because it's fun to banter with him. And he's a pretty good painter, too. There we go. There's my backhanded compliment. So you've got some musculature coming in here. I am going to highlight it. Even though it's in shadow, I'd put that shadow color down first. But there would be some light coming in on this side of the leg there, so. He's mildly okay. Yep, have a good nap, pros. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's hard to get it through your head that being wrong is okay, right? It's hard. Because humans love to be right. And so you're working against, like, a lot of your innate... And it's also you're working against the part of you that doesn't want to, you know, that wants admiration, right? And, you know, so being wrong is, like, the opposite of that. Like, it's just really hard. Kudos to you for working with that, Zachariah. That's one I can still work on, but I'm just working with enough crap. I'm working my way through enough crap right now. Oh no. Because of his kilt. That's really funny, Jack Rock. Oh, playback speed. Failure. Yeah. And you know, people in careers like that, like maybe you do get a little bit of an advantage because you learn that, you know, if it doesn't go wrong, you can't figure out, you know, how it really works, right? Trying to fix it is the best way to learn how it works. With coding, I can totally see that. But many of the rest of us are still kind of fighting our... And mini painting especially, right? It's what keeps people from pushing themselves in painting, or from trying, or from starting to paint that model that they love and they don't want to mess up on, you know? So I'm glazing a little bit here, guys, just to make this come down a bit. I'm going to pop over to this leg now. I still need to do this area, so actually I should do the chest. The chest is important to me. Coding has taught you bad habits for home improvement. I can believe that as well. That's funny. Sending more dwarves to paint. Yeah, I have worked out a lot over the years. It's true. I mean, it's cool because I feel like I'm finally getting to be... Like, I'm getting to be the Anne I want to be. And it's work. Definitely work. So I'm going to get the fingers here. I want to get it all blocked in. Because really, if I have to mix one thing, if it's the top highlight, I was planning on using a different color for that anyway. So getting all of this stuff blocked in is a good strategy. Free the hamster! Yes, work worth doing. All right. Saying now in case you run out of time. Thanks, Growly. Well, we love you and miss you as always. Except maybe Quindy because of your hashtag free. But if Quindy can appreciate Luca, I'm pretty sure she can still appreciate you, Crowley, even with your hashtag free. Yeah, we're painting him. We're going to actually paint him as a vampire. We're lightening up the skin tone. We chose a really muted skin tone, Richard, on this one. And I'm just trying, because I hand mixed this skin tone from like three different colors, I guess, if you include white. I hand mixed it from adding a green to a red, and so it's going to be a devil to match perfectly again. So I'm just trying to get as much blocking done as I can, because then at least I have those colors in common perfectly, and if I have to mix up another batch and it's not quite the same, I'll still have all this color in common, so it'll probably be just fine. You don't want to overthink matching your colors perfectly when you're mixing from scratch. Ah, Xenomorph statue. Cool. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about my new mind games with myself now. If I can solve my stress eating, that's so huge, guys. That's so huge. I have a list. I have an excited list of other things I want to address with myself. But the stress eating is the first one. And then my, I don't get blocked creatively, but I do get a lot of resistance. So I want to tackle that next. Maybe I'll finally get to be the Anne that I was always meant to be. And that would be pretty good if I managed to hit that at 51. I've got a lot of years left of being a great Anne at that point, right? No, it's not. It's not clock change time yet. Although I did mean to look up. I think you're just getting slack, Richard. New Eden Alien Sphinx. Oh, I don't know. I might need to buy that, Crowley. I'm totally not going to do that. I already, sent David one Christmas present suggestion. It works. That works for some people. Kai the Mini Painter. I actually have broken through on my stress thing because I realized that essentially I was giving myself treats because I was stressed. And once I realized that and made myself totally get all homey with myself on, it's okay, you can have a cookie if you want one. Do you really want a cookie? And act, instead of recoiling and shaming it because it wanted a cookie. Because that's why I was getting anxiety, was because my body was like, ooh, when we get anxious, we feed ourselves cookies. So I was giving myself a treat to essentially have negative emotions. It was kind of dumb. Brains are dumb. That's my conclusion to this has been. But thanks to this realization, I have now completely solved my stress eating. We'll see if I get really stressed if I still have to eat, but I don't know. I think I've got it. If I keep working on this, I feel like it's going to go away 100%. Which would be a huge victory. It's been 4 days now, and I have had a bag of chocolate chip cookies out on the counter for 4 days. Chocolate chip cookies are my kryptonite. If they are there, I will eat them. I have not eaten them except for one for dessert every night, and I haven't wanted to eat them. Which is crazy talk. Yeah, our brains are not designed for our world. It's true. Yeah, it's crazy. These mind get, and I'm never gonna make fun of Freud again. I think the problem with Freud is that people, well, for one thing, he did take certain things just way too far, but his basic, the basic thesis behind, a lot of this crazy misfunction comes from our past. He's right. At least in my case, he's right. I never believed this stuff. And maybe that's the problem. But now it's working, so. Right. That's the thing, is the guilt and the denial are the bad things, right? Those are the things that give us our problems in the first place, right? And I was guilted a lot as a kid. Catholic upbringing, anybody? There was a lot of guilt in my childhood. A lot of guilt and a lot of, no, you can't have that and you're a bad person for wanting it. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Thanks, world. So, all right, let's get this space done here so that we can get all of our skin tones figured out. So to keep the Hallmark channel in business. You can make fun. You can make fun of whatever. Oh, you feel that, huh, Gibson? I'm a mostly recovered Catholic at this point. My mom was, during college, I was very much, I was experimenting with paganism. My mom was like, just don't tell your grandmother. Alrighty. So we got this. We've got our highlight. Notice how the highlights, these are using exactly the same colors, but these are colder and darker because we started with the shadow down here. Here we started with the mid-tone. So you can use the same colors, guys, but if you have this, either a sketch or you have Zenith, you can take advantage of this, and you don't have to actually mix new colors at all. You just went to Catholic school. Yeah, they got you. Yeah. It's actually time. Bye, Crowley. Love you. Yeah, you have to deal with it in a healthy way. You have to really see it and see why you're doing it and forgive yourself for it and say, it's good. It's all good. Really, really, little self? Like, if you want a cookie, we got one. Go have one. And then my little self is like, oh, okay. No, I don't really want a cookie right now, I guess. Okay, cool. Let's just keep going. It's just really dumb. Like, seriously, our brains, man. These brains. They're so cool, and they let us do so much awesome stuff, but they're also so screwed up. Oh, my brains. It's like Kiki. I was telling David last night. Kiki is not the dog that's just going to be like, I don't care who walks me. I don't care who pets me. I don't care about going to the vet. She has too many brain cells for that. Kiki is too much of a person to have that. She's got all the complexes that we do. I like some people, but not those other people. I don't know if I'm okay if this guy walks me. I really don't like the vet. I'm smarter than that. That's Kiki, right? Yeah. Do you want a cookie? Okay, you can have one. Guess what? We're an adult. We can go and bake a whole batch and eat it if we want. It's all good. And taking that guilt out of it, like, totally takes away the urge to do it. Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, you cry at the Folgers coffee. Hey, some of those commercials, they're skillfully done to totally get our tears up, right? Yeah, I've done it, especially the animal ones. The animal ones always get me. The Budweiser ones for a while during the Super Bowl would always get me. There were some really kind of happy, sad ones that would make you bawl if you like dogs and horses, which I do. All right, so we just got to tackle this, and then we can call it. And we'll at least have our mids and our shadows in. And then next time, we've got to really bring up our highlights. And I'm going to be glazing to really dull out some of this color and make it spookier. Oh, I haven't even watched it because Pixar is one of those people who can. Yeah, I know. I don't want to cry. Stares intently at the bag of gummy bears on your desk. Yeah, butts. Yeah. Spookier, yes. Oh, nice, yeah. Oh, Erin's really good at baking and everything. Erin is good at everything tasty, pretty much. I totally stole some Snickers from her. All right, a little bit of shadow in here. All right. Yeah, so we're getting there. Oh, and there technically is a bit of light down here, isn't there? Well, there's a light back on his calf. Let me add a little bit of light back on his calf here. Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't like things that jerk my tear ducts. Like, I don't mind. I actually enjoy things that make me cry if it's honest cry. Like, this will sound silly for those who don't understand, but when Overwatch League had its last thing Sunday, like, and it just pretty much, they did this huge montage of all 5 of the seasons of the best moments with the talent and all the players and everything, and I've been with them from the beginning, so I remembered all those things. That was a total nostalgia cry. Also a sad cry because it's over. It's never going to be again. There will never be Overwatch League again. There will be something new, hopefully. Blizzard says they're working on it, but it won't be the same thing. It's that there will never be another thing of this thing that I have enjoyed so much over the last 6 years. It's a long time. So those kind of cries, I really actually enjoy, even though I'm very sad at the same time. But a movie has to be really good at the cry to make me feel like happy with it. Yeah, I know that blank look that Ron gets. That's mostly because that's not a Ron question. You pretty much shorted out his brain with that question, Twisted Oma. Like Ron's brain, now that he doesn't have Adrian to help him with ReaperCon, is probably crammed full of 50 million things, and it only has room for 50 million things. So when you toss a random thing from the side in and it goes to 50 million one, it just shorts out for a second. No, Overwatch 2 still exists, Pendrake, but the Overwatch League was the competitive esports league that they created. It had very high goals, but that was when everybody thought esports was going to make $1 zillion, and it turns out it didn't. So essentially the actual structure of the league was flawed from the beginning because it was all built on the fact that they were going to be able to scale up to a lot of money, and so they attracted a lot of big sports owners to fund teams and stuff like that. Well, especially because of the pandemic, that all pretty much they had a bunch of bad luck, but in general, a lot of teams just spent money like water because they thought it was going to last forever, and it turned out not to be economically feasible for majority of teams, so the owners are going to vote to dissolve it. And so everybody knew that this Grand Finals was going to be the last Grand Finals. And that has a very passionate fan base, the Overwatch League did, so it was just sad. Because every year I would sit and tune in and watch a ton of matches. And it got exciting to follow the stories of the players and all the teams and stuff. All right, there we go. So yeah, it's all gone. Yeah, buffer overflow. Yeah, some things are just too sad to watch more than once. So we've got some light coming up here. It looks really nice. We'll be working on extending this kind of effect on the whole mini. So this will actually be a dramatic lighting figure, just not an OSL necessarily figure. It's going to be a dramatic lighting from above, so we'll keep a lot of very dark shadows, and we'll keep this dramatic look to it, which is fun, right? You can really see the light there, and all I did was paint it in 2 different colors. I'm like, here, and you can still see it. Yeah, but the good thing, Gibson, the good thing about the Overwatch League, and the reason we all believed in it, was that it mandated things like player minimum salaries and how long you could sign a player for without kicking them to the curb. And, when these kids give up going to college to play esports instead, it's really nice that you can guarantee them at least $50,000 a year playing salary, right? So they can actually maybe put some money aside for college. It's nice that you mandate, a retirement account, like as part of it, right? Things that kids never think of, but things that would be great tools and when they finally stop playing, right? And that's why I loved it. No, I don't know. I don't know what to talk about yet. I'll probably mix more of a gray to do that, Gibson. Yeah, so I wondered if you were out there. Yeah, right, because they moved to Korea, right? Yeah, I lost interest too. I had kind of transferred my loyalties to the Mayhem because I really loved Florida Mayhem last year, and when they kept the same team, I love someone and RuPaul and everybody, and I'm just, you know what, I like these players. I'm going to become a Mayhem fan, and then they went on to win it all this year, so I felt really good. I felt really good about it. But hey, Dallas got their championship before they moved too, so we got that too. So that was great. And I'm also a Shock fan. Shock really tanked this year, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, so now I have to look into the orgs behind these things so that I know where the teams and players are going. It's just like, I don't know what... I hope they do something cool, Swillow. Like, I really hope they just do something cool going forward. It can't be Overwatch League, but if it's something really neat and awesome and fun, I'm in. Like, I'll tune in. I love Overwatch too much. Oh, you're a longtime fan of competitive Dota, so you know. Yeah, right. And there are a lot of leagues that don't have those guardrails. They don't protect the kids at all, right? And that's not good. Oh, it's esports, Dogfather. So it's like, you know, kids who essentially decide not to go to like college or start in high school and play competitive video games for a living. Yeah. And the fact that was a very predatory system for a very long time, and there weren't a lot of protections for the players. And so Overwatch League tried to make protections for the players, to give them a minimum salary and to say you had to sign them for at least this long, you know, so you couldn't just sign a player and then just kick them to the curb and violate the contract, things like that. But yeah, so esports is getting better. Guardrails are going in place to protect the kids. Like when people start playing these at 16, like, and they keep playing them till they're 22, like you've really devoted a lot of your developmental time to that, right? So yeah. Yeah, I think everybody was disappointed. I mean, I remember Hastro putting out that, or Tasmo putting out that video, or was it? It was Hastro. Yeah, right. Just curbed your spending. Well, hey. Yeah, right? That's why I just got like a general jersey. I did buy a Mayhem jersey this year because I said earlier in the season that if the Mayhem beat the Atlanta Reign, I was going to buy their jersey, and lo and behold. So yes. Yeah, there are a ton, Butts. There's a ton of esports college team. I used to follow my Denton club. Denton, Texas, UNT. UNT has an esports team. Yeah, look them up. Yeah, and a lot of the college orgs are really good, because they can like go to college and they can do the esports thing, and it's fun, right? The collegiate esports scene is supposed to be really fun. So yeah. Oh, the end of the DPC. Yeah, it was like the owl. Yep. Yeah, because everybody thought a ton of money was going to come into esports, and then it didn't, right? All right, well, I've totally digressed and gone off on a total bunny hop in the last 5 minutes, but let us drag it back. But yeah, Overwatch at least has a very healthy esports scene as far as the lower levels. Who helped to Reaper? The sun is gunning for the North Texas team. Awesome. Nice. Yeah, right, Pendrake. Well, but we like to, like, I don't know. I sure it's like that, but it'd be nice if it would be nice if there were guardrails, okay? But yeah, no, I like my bunny material. But that was the last thing that made me cry, is I sat there on Sunday watching that end reel, watching Zoe give her goodbye speech and all the talent there, and then that goodbye reel for like 5 minutes, and tears were just pouring down my face. Yeah, and that's great. Like, I really like it. I really, like, sure, I mean, because I was never a big fan of sports ball, and at my high school, when I was in it, if you did football, or I guess football was really the basketball a little bit, but that all the money went into that, right? So I like seeing an alternative road for people who aren't into the physical sports, but are still really good at other things, so. I'm glad y'all are having fun. Yep. Oh, that's really cool, Swallow. Yeah, Zoe just seems like she'd be awesome. Pretty much. All right. Well, Swallow and I are totally, like, Overwatch League fans, so that's okay. We'll tamp it down here. But anyway, yeah, I hope you keep an eye out, too, for what they're going to do next, Swallow. Hopefully they'll do something fun. All right, guys. Oh, a couple esports teams. Yeah, they're fun. Oh, Kiki has said, "Woof, Mom, woof. Where's my walk? Where's my woof? Hey, where's my woof? Kiki! Kiki! Come here! Come here! Yay! Oh, wow, I got a huge lick there. Bork, bork! Yes, thank you, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to start painting Ed. Maybe I'll do, like, the really dark reds. Yep, the Kiki Stir. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you for tolerating my going off on a total rail at least 3 times during this stream. Hey, quit the woofing. No! Kiki. Oh, I'm offended. I'm so offended, she says. Okay, we probably have to get our butts outside because it's going to be hot and she's not going to like the walk. So yes, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure the cat looking at the screen when the barking happened, right? All right, everybody. Big loves to all of you and have a great one. And we will see you again for the Friday edition. Yes. All right. Bye.